Good evening. Hi, everybody. Oh, Ricknell says, I'm here. But I'm looking for the first bit, probably. Well, it's been a while. Welcome back. Mark, hello. The usual colorful ninja, thank you. Nice to see everybody. So I was really wanting to do the stream yesterday, but there were issues with the air conditioning and it would just like not hold temperature. It was weird, but at least it's better today. But yesterday was it was tough. So to have that and then like have it already be very hot and then have to put like this get up on, it was not working. It'd just be like sweat drenching down my face. It would be so stupid. So much better today. That would have sucked. So yeah, unfortunately, I am very dependent on the air conditioning, which is another reason to share the videos and stuff. That way, maybe we can meet the goal, so I don't have to do this anymore. Because this is just like, you know, especially when it's hot, it doesn't work. Professor Hazel, hello, welcome back. Good evening, nice to see you again. Great to catch one of your streams. I've been so busy. Hope you remember. I do remember you. Welcome back. No, I see is harsh times indeed. All right, so today I did want to go through some of the remaining of the like Sneeko hosted Andrew Wilson versus Stu Peters debate. I'm not sure how far we'll get into it. I think we'll probably start for like an hour of stream time or so, and then we'll see if we meet the goal, because apparently I'm not grifting properly. So and then if not, then we'll call it a day and then resume later. And if we do, maybe we'll go for another like 30 minutes to an hour or so, or whenever the thing finishes. It depends. We'll take it an hour at a time. Because the really like super duper long streams are kind of like ugh. So yep. Let me pull them up and everything. My video file thing. Oh, you'll see. So there was, so last time we had 2 videos. One of them was basically like the clip one, and then the other one was the main one. I think we'll just do the main one. I'm not sure how much of the clip one there is left that we have. Or you know what, maybe we should just watch the rest of that one real quick, because I don't like switching back and forth between the 2 videos. It was taking up a bunch of time. It was kind of annoying. So I think it might be easier to see what's left. We'll see if there's anything left in the clip one. And then if there is, we'll just play the few of them, and then we'll just sort of keep them in mind. Just. And then we'll go back to the video where the debate is going on, and then we'll see if there's anything from the clips and stuff that might be related to the debate. But I think we went through most of them already in the first part. If there's anything at the end, let's see if I remember what I put there. There might be like a few outro things that are mildly interesting, so let me pull those up and we can watch them together. Let's do, where did I put that? Oh, here we go. I'm not sure if I can even do this like this. No? Yes? No? Maybe not. Oh yeah, okay, I can. Alright, let me move it a little bit here. Okay, we saw that part. We saw the DNA stuff, right? Okay, let me just pull it up so that we can watch it together, the rest of them. That looks okay, yeah. Let's see if we can refresh memory. Oh, I do have notes here for the whatchamacallit. Oh, and I forgot to post the links and stuff. Since I don't want to take up too much time, I think I'm just not gonna today is a day of justs. I'm not gonna even do like the Discord channel by channel thing. I'll just put it in the main one. Just all stream long, all over the place. If I can grab the link here. Oh, there we go. I got it. Okay. Yeah, because I know it takes a minute, so we'll leave it here. And yeah, that should be okay. I'll post it everywhere else later if I remember. If not, it's fine. I'm not even sure how many, if it's worth doing that or not. I haven't checked, or I guess there's probably, analytics somewhere out there for whether that kind of thing helps or not. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it even helps or not. But anyway, I'm gonna have to figure out how to automate that. I think I was talking about that some other time, but then I forgot. It's like every time that I remember these things I want to do, I'm already on the stream, and that's why it triggers my memory that I want to do things. Although I did do the memes, maybe. Oh, did I break it? Oh.
Stop.
A widow.
Yeah, there's a few.
You will respect my authority.
And then there's a few that Claude found for me that I wanted. So this was Claude trimming.
Believe it or not, jail right away.
I don't think I have these set as what you call it. Oh yeah, monitor off. That's why. Yeah, so I won't be able to hear these. Yeah, I'll play with this later. But like I have some additional ones that I wasn't mentioning before, and then this is the other one I was talking. There have been a few times that I remember talking about wanting to have this meme on hand.
Unacceptable.
The lemon head. All right. So yeah, I'll play with those a little bit more later, but I think I've got them. I have made progress, so I've got a few more, and I've got them set up mostly properly. I just have to move them around to where I need them on the Stream Deck, because they're sort of, my Stream Deck is a mess right now. The buttons are sort of all out of place, and anyway, so I have made progress. And now you know. Let me fix this one thing so that I can hear it next time. There we go. Okay, that just took a second. So, where are my notes? Oh, so not yesterday. Whenever it was that we did part 1, we started with Sneeko saying that there was this no ad hom rule. I thought that was pretty interesting. And I was like, I wonder if they're going to end early or something, because, you know, somebody's going to end up ad homming, or because I was like, oh, it seems like it goes on for a while, so it must have not happened. It must have been super respectful this one time. Oh, how wrong was I? So that doesn't seem to be something that they even remembered being a thing. It was kind of tossed out in the beginning and forgotten. And then we had Wilson talking about how I don't work for TPUSA, and then we played some clips of him saying that he's the self-appointed liaison, and that they paid him for his time, and they're not paying me any money. And it's just like back and forth and back and forth. And sure, he technically clarifies eventually when pressed that these are different kinds of paid for. Paid him for debate stuff, not for the liaison stuff. But it's still, he keeps saying it as like a general statement every time, and then only clarifying eventually when he gets called out for it. And when somebody calls him out, he's like, well, I mean, obviously I told you this is exactly what I said. How could you? And like call people stupid, etc. You know, the usual. And then he eventually goes back to saying sort of in a general way, like, oh, you know, they paid me. Oh, no, they didn't pay me, without clarifying for what specifically he means. So, you know, the usual annoying nonsense. So Stu, I'm not a fan of either, honestly. It seems like he did have some theories that he put out there, and it looks like he might have done it in a way that wasn't like, I think, or what about this? Have you considered that? You know, what's this about? it seems like there were some things that he put out in a way that was alleging impropriety on the part of, TPUSA, on the part of Erica Kirk, etc. So it seemed like there was some accusing going from Stu Peters, and that sort of stuff we can't have. So if you make accusations, you have to have evidence for that, and if the evidence doesn't meet the standard, you're going to get called out for it. And he was trying to play this whole I'm not sure, even though he did 100% certainty when he was doing his own show and posting. But when he's in the debate, he's like, well, I don't know, I'm not sure, I'm just asking questions. And it's fine to not know, and it's fine to just ask questions, because that's what we do here. But we don't, turn around on our own show and then start making claims about oh, well, so-and-so killed him, or so-and-so did this shady particular thing without providing evidence. And in general, I try not to allege things unless it's hey, there's evidence for this, or hey, so-and-so alleged it. I don't personally know what happened. I would like to know, and I'm not... I'm very careful to not accuse anyone of anything. So I want to make that clear. So when Stu is saying stuff like, oh, well, we're just asking questions in this debate, I think that's valid, but it seems like he's using the rest of us who really are just asking questions as a shield for him to use this line when he really isn't just asking questions, at least some of the time. So he doesn't get to sort of come back into this just asking questions group and sort of hide behind the rest of us, while, whenever it's comfortable, he goes out and starts. This is something that I'm not sure if this is really... I'm not sure if this counts as this move, but it kind of reminds me of the Wilson's Mott and Bailey stuff that we discussed previously, where he'll take a position, we brought it up last time, I think, something like, oh, well, I don't think women should vote, and that's, which one? I think that's the Bailey. I get them confused sometimes, but that's the nice, or the other way. So if he says oh, well, I don't think women should vote, he will say that when he's nice and comfortable, and then when he gets called out, or if he can't defend it, he'll be like, well, or in a different context where the audience is different, he'll be like, well, no, I don't think that anybody should vote, or I think very few people should vote in general, and that sort of just ends up meaning that less women vote or whatever. So he will say sort of the big outrageous thing when he can, and then he'll pull back and sort of reform it to fit the audience when he's getting pushback. And I think this is similar behavior that we're seeing from Stu Peters here. Is it seems like he's going out there and sometimes accusing people of things directly, and then when he's in a debate, he's turning around and he's like, well, I'm just asking questions, I'm not accusing anyone, I'm not doing this, when you kind of were earlier. So it's similar behavior from both of them. So it's kind of funny to see two people that do the same thing go at each other. It is what it is. And then let's see what else we had. And then we played some stuff about the DNA analysis. We went over a quick summary about what the numbers say and what they don't say. Specifically, the numbers can't say who, when, or how, because they have all these mixtures and likelihoods, etc. So we went over that last time. And then I remember we went over a quick summary of whose DNA was found on what, and whose DNA wasn't tested against specific things, which I thought was pretty interesting. And then tonight, apparently, we'll get into some of the text message stuff, and we'll see how the rest of it goes. But hopefully, we can get through the rest of it in about an hour. I would like to really finish this, so let me catch up on chat real quick, and then we'll go through the rest of these clips real quick, see what we already saw, and then we'll switch back to the debate. This is only maybe a minute or two left of this. Hello, welcome back, Albon. Thank you. I love an unacceptable one. I do too. Andrew can't think straight without head hums. Says Albon needs time to think, and he feels that silence without hums or just character assassinates his opponents, so his audience eats it up and feels like they're winning. Yeah, that's a lot of it is really like performing for the audience and sort of claiming victory regardless. That can involve all sorts of, it's like what he's paid for is to be mean. People sort of get off on him being mean, and they're like, they put themselves in his shoes. That's like their mean champion. So when they wish they could be mean to the pretty girls, they send him out, and he's like mean on their behalf. Whatever. That's a separate rant that I've gone over before. If you welcome says people should just ask him if there's any way women would be able to work their way to vote under his worldview. Oh, like if it's only when, like when he says his other version where, oh, well, you know, people should have some sort of test, or people should, if you own property, you can vote, that sort of thing. If it depends on the audience. So I think sometime he'll say, oh, well, sure, if some women meet that criteria, I guess it's fine, but still most women won't be able to vote because whatever stupid reason. And then if he's more like comfortable, probably like on his own streams, he probably will say the opposite. I don't know. That's my guess. That's my best guess. Re-examination. Nice to see you. Welcome back. All right, let's get back into this and resume. I think, was this the DNA lady? Let me hear it for a minute.
Match probability statistic? Or is that something else?
It itself is not a random match probability statistic. It is a way to...
Does that sound okay for you guys? It seemed kind of quiet for me. Maybe it's just me.
To represent the likelihood ratio similar to a random match probability.
But it's still a likelihood ratio computation, right?
Correct. It's based off the likelihood ratio.
Okay, so yeah, we went over this.
And it's still subject.
We went over the DNA stuff last stream, so let me skip past this one and see where we're at with the rest of it.
Made up that I'm paid by TPUSA. Made that up too. They fucking people are the biggest liars, man.
Oh, this whole like, okay, so we went over this last time where he was like, oh, well, I'm paid by TPUSA. I'm not paid by TPUSA. And then he's like, oh, people are making up that I'm paid by TPUSA, but he's not specifying it again.
Lawsuit bait comment was revealing they're getting worried. You think TPUSA is gearing up for a lawsuit? I sure hope so.
Oh, and I thought this was interesting to include. Okay, I remember this one. So here he's basically like, oh yeah, you know, TPUSA should sue them, like egging them on to sue people, even though he claims to like not be a fan of like, oh, you know, people suing each other, because, and you know, he's getting sued by Sarah the Raging Tomato Lady. She's apparently suing him currently. There's a whole drama about that. Like he was going around asking people to like share private messages with her to see like what she was talking about because of this lawsuit thing, and it's a whole cringe situation. But yeah, now he's like, oh yeah, everybody should sue each other now. But specifically, like the TPUSA suing people, I think, if I remember correctly, was it Brian Harple that ended up suing Candace? And that was interesting because I think this is something she brought up on her show when she talked about it, is that she hasn't like alleged that, like she hasn't accused him of anything. And there are other people out there that have accused him of, like directly accused him of something illegal or whatever. And instead of going after the people that were accusing him, he went after Candace, who wasn't accusing him. So I thought that was an interesting move. So apparently TPUSA is suing some people. I don't know if he knows that or not. He seems like, overall, for somebody that's supposed to be the liaison for TPUSA's Charlie Kirk conspiracies, self-appointed or not, it seems like he's not very knowledgeable on the case overall. There's a lot of things he says that it's very clear that he isn't aware of things that are going on in the case or surrounding the case. So I don't know, it seems like here he might not, I don't know if he knows that what's his face, Brian Harple was suing Candace. So it seemed like he was like, oh yeah, TPUSA should sue all these people, etc. But I think if he knew, he might have said like in addition to, or like, oh yeah, by the way, they already are and they should do more, or they should, you know, keep going with it, something like that. I think there's a little bit more to this. I'll play it in a second, but Rick, now, is there a soundboard yet? Well, it's, as far as soundboard, it's more of the meme board. I don't know if you missed the meme board earlier, but I think it's a little weird because it doesn't always work directly. I think I have to be like in the thing. And then it's like if I press it, it might not come up again for a few minutes. Like
A widow.
Stop.
see, it's like overlapping each other. So I have to still play with it, but you do get the soundboard, I guess, but it's like a meme board. Close enough. It is good. I think I bumped it up a little bit since I saw that, but thank you for that. Sarah is suing him. Yes, that is true. That is happening for sure. The drama. Alrighty. Let's see if we can finish this off. There's only, yeah, this is only like a few minutes of clips here. It's been a couple days since we were doing this last time, so I gotta trigger my memory with what's going on here.
At this point, it's a fucking slam dunk. Yeah, that's true. I called Erica Kirk retarded one time for the purposes of the debate that I was in so that we could take her off the table and these people would have to actually contend with the question I asked.
It's interesting that now he's like making excuses for it because I think it was a tweet that I saw or something where he was all like, "Oh yeah, I call her the R word, so what?" But he wasn't really making as big of an excuse for it then. I wonder if he got like more pushback between then and here. Or I'm not exactly sure on the timing of this, but I know I have seen other places where people have called him out on like, "Hey, so you insulted this lady and then you went and started praising her when you got some cash." So, but it seems like here he's like making excuses for it. "Oh, well, it was for this debate. It was only to take her off the table." At least own it. I think it works better for him when he owns things like that because, again, that's what people pay him to do. People pay him to be mean and call people names and insulting people. That's why he's being paid. So when he sort of does this excuses, backtracking sort of halfway situation, it doesn't work well for him. Because what works well for him is when he is insulting people and he's like, "Oh, well, so what, period." Not like, "Oh, it was this, it was that, because this, and that, like, this makes it okay, because this was happening, and so it's not big of a deal. It was only in this specific scenario for this specific statement." So it's one of those, like, it's one of those moves that he does where he's like, "Oh, well, it was just internal critique. That's not my real opinion. I'm doing internal critique to show you that your opinion is so stupid." Like, that's not my real opinion, even though I made it sound like it was my real opinion this whole time and answer questions in a way that wasn't like hedged in any kind of like if statement or anything around it. It was basically like, "Yes, I think this," very directly. And then when he gets sort of trapped and wrapped up in bad arguments, he will do this escape hatch and be like, "Well, I was just doing internal critique the whole time." And just so he insulted for the better good. It's a good one. I see what you mean. Being wishy-washy is off-brand for someone like Andrew. Yeah, a lot of things have been oddly off-brand for him recently. I don't know if he's like losing it. I don't know exactly what's going on. Maybe sometimes he's too drunk or something and things slip. I'm not sure what the reasons are, but he has been doing a lot of like things just sort of slip out recently. I think I did publish that video recently where he goes on this like a very long rant about Candace that I clipped, and that it was such a long rant. I had to literally like cut out most of it because it would be ridiculous to keep most of the video would be that rant on its own if I had kept all of it in. It was insane. Like it really seemed like, and it's funny because he started by saying, "Oh, well, Candace, whatever, who cares?" And I'm not even going to talk about Candace or something like that. Like he doesn't want to talk about it. And then immediately starts talking about it and does not stop for, I don't even know how long it was going on. It was like 15 minutes straight where he was just literally like nonstop just going off about Candace and completely crashing out. It was so weird. I don't know how the exact time, I'm sort of guesstimating here, but it was a very long time. And then it seemed like he was over and he was moving on, and he'd come right back to it again. It was so weird. Okay, let's finish this up.
I was asking them. So I was like, yeah, she's retarded. Great. Now she's off the table.
Mm-hmm.
Now, can you actually answer the question that I had?
Now, can you answer the question? Now, can you actually answer the question?
And the thing that's
Sorry.
funny about it is it's like,
Sounds like
you don't get to just endlessly torture these fucking people without a single fucking shred of evidence.
oh, this one. Endlessly torture. Oh, the torture. Oh, the horror. Let me wipe my tears from this torture with my cash, my like wads of cash. Pat. Sorry, we don't wipe tears. We pat. Only one eye. We pat, and only one eye at a time. I just keep patting that same eye. Sorry, I don't have a wad of cash. I'm not Erica Kirk. I don't have that lying around. But if I did, I would grab that wad of cash and just tap the same eye over and over. With the cash, with the money, absolutely. It's interesting how he's like, oh no, poor Erica Kirk, she's being tortured. They're torturing the poor widow. But any other time when he's talking about any other woman that isn't, above him in status that he's trying to suck up to, and get something from her, whatever the situation is, status, whatever's going on. We discussed this previously. When it's any other woman and there's nothing that he can get from her, he is not that kind, and he will not defend any of them. He'd be like, "Oh, you claim to have been abused by your ex-boyfriend. Well, how about some proof? Did you call the police? Where's the police report?" Even though that criteria doesn't seem to fit for when Rachel claims it suddenly when she gets called out for the whole baby daddy thing after claiming everything was fine originally, not really bringing it up, not mentioning when there have been perfect opportunities to mention things like that, and then suddenly when she gets called out for it, and they're both like, oh, horrible abuse. Well, where's the police report? That's what they ask other people. Ooh, Ricknell. Thank you. Monies. Here, dab your eyes with this. A $2 bill. Wow. We have a lot to go before we have Erica Kirk dabbing material, but thank you so much. Why was he your boyfriend is literally what he will ask others. Yeah, he will. Yeah. There have been many times when he was, especially like on the whatever podcast, when he'd go on and someone would be like, oh yeah, this and this happened to me. He'd be like, oh yeah, really? And Brian does this too, although Brian he wasn't as rude about it, but they would basically go and start like accusing her of lying with zero evidence. It's super weird. And like, sure, some of them might have been lying, but I don't even know what is exactly. It's not just rude. It's completely like antisocial to accuse people of lying about stuff like that without evidence, like completely randomly. It's super weird. Oh, that reminds me. I forgot to set the super chat goal thing. Thank you for reminding me, Ricknell. Oh, now I lost my mouse. Wonderful. All right, let's watch the rest of this while I figure out how to do that.
I'm sorry, you don't get to do that. And the shit that he brought up, I refuted it in 15 seconds. Imagine Stu Peters getting selected for jury duty and everything to him is considered fed slop when they bring the evidence. Yeah, I know.
Can I even do that?
Well, not only that, but I hope they civilly get sued into oblivion for trying to pin this horrific thing on Charlie Kirk's wife and best friends. Fucking animals. What a bunch of fucking animals to do that. Just total assholes. But I gave you your fucking blood sport.
Fucking animals. Honestly, he keeps going on and it just seems like fake outrage. It does. I have seen him mad about stuff. I mean, it was the 3 baby daddy thing. This is just fake outrage,
Not give me my money.
in my opinion.
Right
of course.
now, your only job in this world is to send me tons of your hard-earned money as I earned it.
Oh, that was the grifty part, I think. Whatever. There's a few like random ones here.
People, there is malice. Never seen anything like it. It's unprecedented. Whether you like her or you hate her, it's irrelevant. Erica Kirk is the most defamed woman currently walking anywhere on planet Earth.
That's wow. First, for him to be the one that's talking about defaming women, I don't know. Everything his like simping for Erica Kirk is so weird to me. Like, I understand that, you know, she's clearly the higher status woman, but he usually doesn't simp for women. So it's interesting. Although it makes sense because usually there aren't women that he like has a chance to get close to, that he can get something from, that have more money than him. Usually the women he interacts with tend to have less money and less influence. So the one time that he can, you know, get close to a woman that is higher status and has more money than him and more influence, significantly more, he plays nice. So this is special. This is a special time. Putin, we are back. Thank you, Rick Nell, again. What did he just say? Oh, which part? Because there was a lot, and oh, wow, was appropriate. He is a very good soldier. He's white knighting for Erica Kirk. If Andrew wouldn't white knight for her, who else could possibly do that except for like the at least dozens of other people I can think of. There's a video I'm working on now where there's a quick mention about like another white knight that is probably the biggest one she has. It's the one, just to give, you know, since I'm already talking about it, I might as well mention you know, that Bible in 365 thing she does with, and that like, sort of like creepy pastor that is constantly around her. They do this podcast thing together, which isn't really the podcast, it's like the ministry, whatever. I'm going through some transcripts from that recently, and there's a few interesting things that I found. But something that does not escape notice because it's so on the nose and blatant is how much this pastor, or whatever he is, because, I mean, for a pastor, he's, I don't know, something about him makes my skin crawl, but he's constantly like sucking up to white knighting, simping. Like, I know people say like, oh, simping this and simping that, but usually it's kind of like, oh, haha. But this is a serious case of like very serious simping. Like anytime she says anything weird or like anything at all, that's, and most of it is nonsensical babble. Like when she talks, it's nonsensical babble. There's no substance to it. And no matter what it is that she says, even though it's complete nonsense, and especially if it's complete nonsense, those are the times where he's most likely to jump in and validate whatever it is she's saying. And he'll be like, oh, you know, you beautiful Erica Kirk, everyone's just jealous and this and that, and constantly stuff like that. It's super cringe. But that'll be in a future video. Let me get, what you call it? The other video up. I think we have it up here. Ooh, monies. Thank you, Putin. Now I can say I was passionate by Putin. Add the, oh, I love those emojis from Erica to your memes. Oh, that's a good one. That is a good one because people do send emojis in chat, and that would be a great thing to come up once in a while. That is a good idea. I will have to add that after the stream because that is a great one. A serious case of simpery. Yeah, he is so very weird. He's just sitting there constantly like, oh, Erica, oh, poor Erica, and he'll start like bawling whenever she's sad for her. It's like, what is going on? But thank you again so much, Putin. Yay, money. Be like Putin. All right, let me see where we left off here. I think it was About 41 minutes in. We go to 41. I think we're right over here. Let me see if, I don't know if we should speed it up. I think they already talk pretty fast, but if we can get away with it, I will. But if we can't, I won't. And I think this is one that needs to be a little quieter because they yell a lot. Let me know if I need to bump up the volume, mine or theirs or whatever. Just let me know if it's unbalanced because it's hard to tell when, you know, I'm the one listening through headphones and it's different. Russian state sponsored live. That's perfect. That is pretty funny. Oops. I don't think so. I mean, it's just for fun.
In this particular case, we have lots and lots of evidence that you have not refuted.
Plus, I think if I was sponsored by Putin, he would send me more than $5. Can you imagine, like, actual Putin is like going into YouTube's? Could you imagine? That would be insane. I think they would probably start like swatting me or something. Like, are you in contact with Putin? What is he paying you? What does the $5 mean? That would be so crazy. Although, nah, there's no way. Because there were people that actually did get in trouble for doing Russia stuff allegedly, but there was an actual like Russia like company that paid them like hundreds of thousands of dollars or something. But I forgot whatever came of that. I don't know if that was even really illegal. Although if they hide it, I think there's like weird financial stuff. But yeah, it's like hundreds of thousands of dollars, and then they pay attention. So I don't think we're ever gonna get anywhere that close. Okay, yeah, I think we're good. American dollars are absolutely good. We love American dollars around here. American dollars are the best dollars. Oh, I can't do. Is it such a? American dollars are the best dollars. I don't have a good Trump impression, but something like that. Quick, someone donate rubles. No, I don't think you can because YouTube blocks Russia. So we're safe from the big bad Russians. We're safe here. They can't possibly donate money to me. They're all blocked by YouTube. All of Russia. Thank you, YouTube, for keeping us safe from Russian money. Whatever would we do if Russian money could possibly get to us and increase our money? Anyway, separate thing. Let's move on. People are slowly coming back. All right.
Judicial process works in this
I
country?
do. Yep, innocent until proven guilty.
So,
do you understand how evidence works in this
Do you
country?
understand
That you can
that
be
is the
guilty.
burden?
Yeah, you can still be guilty of a crime even if you're presumed innocent. In this
So-
particular
Yeah,
case, we
higher.
have lots and lots of evidence that you have not refuted.
That's
You haven't
better.
refuted the text messages. You haven't
Yes, I
refuted the DNA. You
Yes, I
haven't
did.
refuted any. Okay, I'll tell you what. Let's start with
How does
the
that
easiest one
sound?
possible for you. Is it actually impossible, Stu, that a 30-06 hit Charlie Kirk? Is that actually impossible?
Based on my experience with 30-06,
Uh-huh.
everything that I've seen with 30-06,
Uh-huh.
no, I don't believe that he was shot by a 30-06. And I think
Okay.
just 20 seconds ago I said I don't believe the official narrative. That includes a transgender, furry, homosexual climbing or scaling the side of a building in broad daylight without being detected.
Hang on,
with a
hang on. Let's
rifle
just start
shoved
with the
down his
30-06.
pants,
Let's just start with
using
the
his
30-06.
grandfather's
Let's do
stolen
one claim at a
30-06.
time.
I'm just telling you what I don't believe.
I
You just
understand
asked
you
me.
don't believe, but you see
said
what you
start with
did.
The easiest thing, the 30
Yeah, and now we've got the easiest thing. You just made a claim. You do not believe. You say this did not happen. He was not
The
shot
burden
with a
of proof
30-06.
is not
That is the
Saying you don't believe something isn't really making a claim. Somebody else is making the claim, and you're either believing it or not believing it. You can not believe somebody else's claim, and that doesn't make it a claim of your own. Like, you're not making a new claim in the way that people normally use the word claim in debates. Like, that doesn't compute. What? Try by only dollars allowed. Oh no, it's the real Putin. It isn't possible. He would have made it to the hospital possibly headless. Wait, what? Okay. the 30-06. Yeah, that I have seen people do all sorts of like going in their backyard or shooting range or wherever it is that they go and bring all kinds of objects, including like metal, like solid metal or sheets of steel or whatever, and chunks of wood, carcasses from farm animals like pigs, cows, whatever, like thick bones in the middle, stuff like that. So things that are way stronger than a human neck. And the results, no matter what kind of special bullets they use, whether they're soft point or whatever, no matter what, every single result is nothing close to what we ended up seeing with Charlie. So no, I don't believe it either. And I don't think that not believing the state's claims is a claim of your own. Like, that doesn't really make sense to me.
Burden upon me.
It is
No,
the
it's
second you
not.
say that's not true.
Me proving Tyler Robinson innocent is not where the burden
No,
lies.
no, no, I
It is
didn't ask
you
you.
to prove
I didn't
that there
ask
is
you that.
evidence that
I
says
asked you
it's
to
an open and
prove-
shut case.
Oh, sorry, like this.
I asked you to prove it was impossible.
Turning
Stu.
Point USA is saying it is an
Yeah,
open
Stu,
and shut case, and
Stu,
that
answer the
Tyler
question.
Robinson is guilty.
Stu.
When you said
When
you
you
wanted
said-
to debate
bro,
that,
this guy's
I said
just gonna
I would be
filibuster
more than happy
forever.
to debate that.
Yeah, let's go
you
back
wanna
to
talk
times.
about exploding
Sneeko.
microphones.
This
You
guy will
want to
never,
talk about
he'll never answer
documented,
anything.
open source, irrefutable
I
data
know.
that
We'll
nobody can
you
explain
know what?
away.
I'm just going to sit here
You
and
want to talk
filibuster
about
too.
Google
then.
image searches.
I
You want
will-
to talk
I'll
about
read my
Travis
Hold on, hold on,
Scott,
hold on, hold on, hold on.
about exploding
know.
microphones.
Why not just address some of the
I
claims?
want to talk about what the claim is that you're
I'm
making.
trying to.
Which is what I said I would come
Yeah,
here
I'm
and
trying
debate,
to,
which
but
is
you're
that Tyler
filibustering.
Robinson killed Charlie Kirk, and you
Yeah,
have
you're,
no evidence
but you're
of that. So where
filibustering.
is
I
it?
gave you tons of evidence. You're not addressing any of it.
I don't remember him giving anybody tons of evidence. I think, okay, it has been a few days since we saw part 1, but if I remember correctly, there was maybe like 1 or 2 things that he mentioned, and it wasn't like him presenting evidence. He was like, oh yeah, they have stuff. And some of them is he admitted to doing it with text messages. And he didn't really present anything else. I know the state has presented other things, but it wasn't. I don't recall him like presenting tons of evidence on his own here, like in the debate, like which particular pieces of evidence were most, compelling in his opinion. He was not presenting tons of evidence. He might have mentioned a few things here and there, but a few is being generous with like how many. Or it was some poorly made commie round that performed like a handgun round. I don't know. It seems like there's a lot of things that have to be aligned and go very awry and unusual and weird, and for things to happen the way that they did. It's just, for everything to be so off a little bit or wrong a little bit. There's no, like, every single piece of evidence that they have is off in some way. There's no single piece of evidence that's like, okay, there's like, this is it. There's not much question about it. This is like pretty standard stuff here or whatever. Like, not a single piece of evidence that I've used has been like that. There's weird questions and nuances with every single piece. He presented state's evidence. But he sort of presented it as like, oh, the state has stuff, not that like item by item exactly what they had.
Let's start with the 30-06.
I did.
Let's start with the 30-06. Is that possible or impossible? You say that it's impossible. I heard you say that, the steel neck
I
theory
didn't
is
say it was
ridiculous.
impossible.
Okay, it's not impossible. then.
Based on what?
The steel neck theory is ridiculous. Why isn't it? Why isn't you saying it like, he said the steel neck theory is ridiculous, as if it's not ridiculous? With that tone meant to imply that it's somehow not ridiculous.
What I saw, no, I don't believe that that's what happened.
Okay,
I don't
so
believe
then,
that Tyler Robinson's lazy eye and his sniper abilities shot Charlie Kirk and his Superman
at 140
steel.
yards.
No, I don't. I don't believe that.
Did Martin Luther King have a super jaw?
I believe his grandmother when she said that she's never even seen Tyler Robinson with a rifle, with a
That never
30-06, with any kind of a
happened.
firearm.
That literally never happened. You just made it up.
But
Can
it
you
did.
show me
There's text messages about that.
where? Show me.
They're
are they?
on X.
Okay,
Somebody
they're
went
on X.
to Tyler Robinson's grandmother's door.
Uh-huh.
So can we talk about some of the? We're going back and forth the 30-06 and the different evidence and claims.
Yes.
could talk
What
So
about
let's start?
some-
I'll give you.
No,
I'm going to start. I'll start with my evidence.
I do not believe that the 30-06 was used to shoot Charlie Kirk in his neck. No.
Gotcha. Okay, understood. And Stu, are you a ballistics expert?
Andrew, you're not going to shift the burden here. It is
I'm not.
my responsibility.
You just said you don't
to
believe
prove
X.
Tyler Robinson's innocence.
I understand. Is
Do you
it the case
consider-
though
let
that
me
you
ask
just
you this.
said?
Do you
Hang on, you
consider
can't
Rob O'Neill
disbelieve
to be an
something.
expert?
Okay, what I do find kind of annoying is that Stu is constantly like speaking. Like he won't stop talking. And this is I find it annoying. I find it annoying when people are trying to have a conversation, and Andrew does the same thing with other people too. I'm not saying that one is like a perfectly innocent little snowflake and the other one is like a monster that's doing all this crazy stuff. No. But in this particular case, in this particular part of the conversation, it is Stu that keeps sort of filling the space with speaking, but he's not really like he keeps kind of repeating himself without adding a whole ton with each word. He's sort of like speaking. Like he's it seems like he's talking for the sake of talking. You know what I mean? Are we all to believe that Andrew Wilson turned off his phone, rolled up his sleeves, put on his readers, and dug deep into the charging documents, preliminary hearing transcript, and parted evidence? Yeah, no. So one thing that I do know that did happen is that he live streamed the preliminary hearing. But since he didn't have any other background on the case, whatever the state presented, he was like, yeah, see, there we go. I mean, obviously that means he's guilty. Guilty. That does it. I mean, look, they have all this evidence, but I don't know if like he really is stupid or if he isn't stupid and he was just dishonest about what the evidence didn't show, because there was not a ton that like none of it was really definitive, and even adding all of that up together, it wasn't. There was no like, oh, yep, he did it. I was honestly less convinced after watching the preliminary hearing that Tyler did it than I was before going into it. The preliminary hearing made me more suspicious of the state's case because of how little they had and how a lot of things they had were extremely suspicious and unusual. So I don't know if he watched it with the blinders on or what happened there, but he did stream the entire, I don't know if it was the entire, but like each day of the preliminary hearings. But you could tell that when he's discussing it from the clip, we saw a clip from in part 1 where there was a clip of him and like Ryan Mullerby or something. I don't know that guy, but it's Muller something last name. The one with like the mustache bigger guy. And when that was from them watching the preliminary hearing together and like live streaming it. And you can tell by their conversation that they don't know the case. This is like them tuning in, and they may have sort of skimmed it here and there, maybe like an AI summary or something. But overall, there were so many details that it was very obvious they didn't know a lot of details of the case from their conversation. Like the things they would say and acting like, oh, well, this is, oh, yeah, here's evidence. Ha, what now, people who don't believe the state narrative? And if he had known the other details, he would know why that particular evidence doesn't work the way it does, or etc. Things like that. In Andrew's mind and his audience's mind, yeah, that's a good point. So whoever still, agrees with him on stuff in general and, thinks that he's the dog's bollocks, I'm sure they all think that he's so totally very smart and owning everybody else constantly. Stu is on the fence. I don't know why there are literal amounts of evidence and videos of 30-06 performing. It would take steel neck as a more legitimate claim. Not what you, yeah, I know what you mean. He overviewed the hearing. He did watch it, but I think he must have gotten some kind of like crappy overview from maybe somebody that is a propagandist, or he just didn't bother getting an overview at all for the details of the case that we know publicly before the preliminary started. So the context that I was in was basically like, oh yeah, the state is right, so how can we make it so that we make the state to be, you know, the correct one? We can't be detracting it, because apparently if you bring up issues with the state's case, that means that you want Charlie Kirk's killer to go free or something, which is so stupid. All them cliff notes. Speaking of cliff notes, let's see, what do we have here? Okay, we're still in this the doubt and the claim. Okay,
How am I supposed to?
we're still in 41.
I just told
Oops.
you that
Of evidence.
I don't know how that happens.
And Stu, are you a ballistics expert?
Andrew, you're not going to shift the burden here. It is
I'm not.
my responsibility.
You just said you
to
don't believe
prove
X.
Tyler Robinson's innocence.
I understand. Is
You
it the
can-
Also, this, like, I'm not sure where he's taking this whole "are you a ballistics expert" thing, because usually when people ask that in a debate, they go somewhere that's like, oh well, if you're not an expert, what do you even know? But if anybody did that to him, he would have been, because he has a thing about experts and whatever, and like he knows better than everybody else. So when it's convenient, I guess, call out how somebody else is an expert. But if somebody else mentioned that you're not an expert, oh, God forbid. Do you have to be a cardiologist to know someone's having a heart attack? Andrew Logic. Yeah, I mean, some things you don't have to be an expert to know. And there are things that we can see with our own eyes and ears and whatever else that... Why would I say whatever else?
case though
Let
that
me
you
ask
just
you this.
said?
Do you
Hang on, you
consider
can't
Rob O'Neill to
disbelieve
be an
something.
expert?
How am I supposed to
I
even
listen to
question this guy,
experts.
Sneeko? You want to answer any questions? Are
Sure,
you a
I'll-
ballistic expert?
Do you consider Rob O'Neill to be a ballistic expert?
Which guy's Rob O'Neill?
Rob
Osama
O'Neill's
bin
the
Laden
guy that-
assassin. threatened
Yeah,
it.
he killed Osama bin Laden. He's been
No, he's
combat
not a
deployed
ballistics expert.
440 times. He
Yeah,
was
he's not
the
a-
range
no, he's not a
officer
ballistics
in charge
expert.
of the SEAL team.
Not a
Okay,
ballistics
Are you
expert.
a ballistics
no.
expert?
No,
Okay, is Gary Melton a ballistics expert?
by his own
Okay,
admission.
Is Valhalla, is Erica Kirk a ballistic expert?
Nope.
But she said
Oh, it's actually a little weird.
she was Tyler Robinson. So she
Yeah, but do
is
you
saying
see?
that
Yeah,
is
hang
Jack
on, hang on.
Posobiec a ballistics expert?
No, of course not.
Well, he
But
says
the-
that it's
so
an open
we've
and
all
shut
established
case.
that none of us are ballistics experts, right? We've established that. Great.
I don't
so
need
now,
to be a ballistics
let's
expert
get into the
for you
expert.
to tell me
Or
what
let's get into
evidence
what
proves that Tyler Robinson
going
killed
to-
Charlie.
Speaking of ballistics experts, the ATF said that the result was inconclusive. Normally, in any other court case, inconclusive would mean they don't have anything. While for some reason, in this particular case, when they get back inconclusive, they keep trying to push it as, well, really what they mean is it could have come from this gun, in addition to a ton of other ones also. And there was also a weird situation with the fragments, how there might have been 7 that got pulled out, but they only received and tested some subset of that. Like a few were missing. All kinds of weird things going on. There is no piece of evidence in this case that the state has presented for their side that does.
Court in Tucson.
Yeah.
Where, when he,
great.
by the way, when he said that and pretended that he
Are
had
we ever
no
going to get to
idea
the
what
evidence,
Fort Huachuca
Stu?
was.
Stu, are
Do
we
you
ever
know
going to
that
get to the evidence?
immediately
Stu?
after that?
You're just still you're prattling, bro.
This is when the
Oh my God.
TPUSA plane actually landed on Fort Huachuca.
Yeah. Can we get to the evidence
But
now?
he's going to pretend he doesn't know what that is.
So let's start with the 30-06. Are
Okay.
you aware that the U.S. Army has released many studies on the 30-06, including a very
I
comprehensive
don't
study
care. That does
where they
not
went
connect
over?
Tyler Robinson to the
dude,
shooting
bro,
death
you-
of Charlie Kirk, which is
I
what
don't.
we're
All
here
right,
to
we'll do a
debate.
time limit, Sneeko.
I wonder if he read the full study, because every single time that somebody else brings up a study in a debate against Wilson, he will ask them if they read the whole study. Not an excerpt, not a summary, not... Apparently, if you just summarize the study, that's not good enough. You have to read the whole thing word for word, and he will pull it up and he'll start like quizzing them. And if they don't know some obscure fact about the study on like page 10, he'll be like, haha, you haven't read it, so it doesn't count. I'm sorry, I had to say it annoying like that. I wonder if he read the studies. I'm sure he would say yes, but I don't know if I believe him, because studies in general are long, and I doubt that he's literally sitting there reading all of these studies. I doubt it. I don't know. That's all I got. Obviously, I don't know for a fact that he didn't read it, but somehow I'm doubting he did every single one of them, every single word, every single page, every single piece. Do you have to be an anthropologist to know that it's a human having the heart attack? Yeah. Do it crash? Do it crash? I hope not. I don't think it's... I think we're okay. Let me know if it died, but... Okay. Because we have crashed before, so... that has happened. It would really suck if it happened again. Only Dr. Fritz agrees, please. I check my phone. No, okay, we're alive. Okay, very good. Thank you. Yeah, because it has happened, so...
The guy won't even let me speak. He just
we don't have to do the
filibusters.
type. You seem that you both abandoned it, but let's just...
I'm not going to sit here and read you studies from the government to prove
What are we
that
supposed to
Tyler Robinson
debate
is
then?
innocent.
We're supposed to...
Okay, so this is also interesting because often when somebody brings him studies, he will poke holes in it, even though, like, you could poke holes technically in any study, but it's also sort of like, oh, well, you can bring studies, but studies have X, Y, and Z issue, but we can just use reason and talk about it. So he's like, well, when other people bring studies, it's like, oh, boo, studies. But when I bring studies and other people are like, hey, we can, just reason this out. He's like, oh, we have to have the studies. So I don't know. It's like, what are you going to debate? So every other debate that you have had about anything, if studies weren't involved, it's basically trash. You can throw it out. He seemed to say the opposite in other occasions. So I guess I'm not surprised that things are very opposite with him very often. But Stu is being kind of a dick here. He's sort of like, honestly, he is prattling a lot. And I do find that kind of annoying as well. I think it would be better if people sort of said a point and then heard the response and said a point, etc., back and forth. That would be easier for us to even comprehend what exactly each is trying to say. Because right now it's very high school chick sort of drama, like arguing. That's kind of what this comes across like.
Debate what? You won't even go over
You
the
made
evidence
the claim
with me.
that Tyler
They're both like, oh, you're prattling. No, you do this, and oh, I have this, and no, that's not good enough. And they're just like, it's so catty. I don't know.
Robinson shot Charlie Kirk.
I'm trying to go over the evidence,
You're all
but you
over the
won't
place.
stop
You're online
talking, bro.
saying that. So what's the evidence?
The evidence.
You're
Let's
talking
go
about
over it.
citations from the government. You're
Yes, the
talking about-
citations from the government.
That's
who
not
used that
evidence.
caliber in 3 wars, Stu.
That's not evidence that Tyler
It's
Robinson
massive
shot
evidence
Charlie
that this
Kirk.
is not only possible, but when we take the 150 grain core lock Remington,
It's
we look
possible
at the
that
minute of
Jewish space
angle.
lasers killed
It's
Charlie
not
Kirk.
only
That's
it's not only
evidence.
possible, it's likely. And let's point this out too. When you say steel neck, Martin Luther King must have had a steel jaw then, because it stopped there too, Stu. He stopped at 30-06 rounds.
I have heard people bring up this point, and they think it's like such a home run when they're like, oh, well, MLK was also shot with one of those, and it stopped in him. But like, going through the jaw and other bones and stuff is not the same as going through like the soft tissue on your neck. And MLK was also a very sus situation, so I don't know how using the other extremely suspicious situation is supposed to support this other extremely suspicious situation. If anything, it makes it more suspicious, but I don't know all the details about it, but right away I can tell that if you hit the jawbone, that's way different than going through like the squishy part of your neck. That's one is way tougher than the other. And it went through like completely different parts of him. It's not comparable. To be honest, Andrew's BS is getting to see when he's folding. Yeah, I mean, Stu doesn't seem to be... Oh no, did it rewind again? That's so annoying. I'm sorry that it did that. I don't know why it keeps doing that.
Against their client. It is say yes, this guy should go on trial for
Where's here?
is evidence that Tyler Robinson shot.
No,
Charlie
the
Kirk.
evidence for that would be his confession.
That
Remember
sounds
when
like
he
an
confessed?
investigation.
Do you remember
actually.
when he confessed, Stu, via text message?
Okay, so this is the same thing that he was saying in part 1 that we watched. It was like, oh yeah, the text messages. He said I did it in the text messages, which have been given to them in a very sus way by a very suspicious person. And they haven't presented any evidence that Tyler was the one that sent those. They haven't presented any evidence that he had his phone in his hand at that time and that was the only that those messages were sent from that phone at that time. So they have to make the full connection for it to be he sent the messages, because you could log into an account and send messages from other devices. You could log into your account from other devices and have your phone not even be on you. You could not be logged in anywhere and somebody else could be logging into your stuff, whether you have the phone or not. Especially if you don't have the phone, that's another link that is not there. So I haven't seen evidence that those messages were sent from Tyler's phone. I have seen photos of supposedly Tyler on his roommate's phone, but I mean, even if those were sent from his phone, again, they would have to make the connection that he was the one that sent them and he had his phone in possession at that time. But we don't even have that. We have photos of Tyler's name on a thing. It doesn't even show his number in the screenshots in the video. It went through his jaw and went into his shoulder and through his body. Thank you. That helps because I'm not super clear on that case. I just know that it also was quite shady. Oh, is this thing not... Oh, the thing isn't coming up. That's not good. It usually works. Well, I guess I can't do the highlight anymore. I'll have to look into that after stream because I really do have... Or I do love doing the highlight, but I even did a custom... The graphics for the highlight are custom Persona inspired too.
You
No,
remember when
I
he
don't.
sent text messages to his boyfriend and laid out the entirety of it? He said that he ditched his rifle. He said that he shot Kirk. He went through the entirety of everything
No, he
that he
didn't.
did.
He said,
Yes, he
I
did.
did it. He never said what he did.
He did what?
said, "I
What do you
did
think
it."
he did? What do you
I don't
think he
know.
was referencing? I don't know.
I have no idea. It is
I
not
did
incumbent
it.
upon me to prove
Yeah.
what he meant.
Yeah, I did
That's-
it.
It's the
Yeah.
prosecution's burden to prove what he meant when he said, I did it.
He meant
But
he
here
meant
you
he
go.
was he
But
meant
here
he
you
was going to
You
go get
said
ice
He
cream.
went through in great detail about what he
Uh-huh.
did and all this. He said,
Yeah.
I did it. He didn't
Yeah.
say what he did. So
No, he
just
he
like
did.
Jack Posobiec misrepresented, just like Benny Johnson said that it's open.
It seems like they moved on from the whole, oh, there's a study with the army thing. It's interesting how when other people mention a study, he demands to know every detail about it. The title, who was part of the study, who wrote it up, etc. Like the people involved, the date, all kinds of stuff, who funded it. He wants to know everything. But when he presents a study, that's all we get. Like, there's a study. So it's interesting that they sort of moved on from that and they didn't cover exactly which study, exactly what did it say. So he didn't get that interrogation. And I think that's on Stu because he was doing a lot of kind of random over talking and he didn't really push back on it besides like, oh, we're just doing studies now. Like it was not great. The overall debate, again, I don't like either of them. So it's sort of interesting that they're both doing poorly. Neither of them are winning, but neither of them are really losing because each one's opponent is not doing that well. So it's an interesting little situation here. Was that photo real of Vicky with Tyler together? Did you see it? I haven't seen it, but I don't think that was real. If what you're describing is what you saw, that's I pretty much guarantee that's not real. They wouldn't have something like that. You know, it wouldn't be worth the risk. They would pick somebody else if they knew each other for whatever reason. So I don't think that whatever you're talking about is real. But no, I haven't seen it. How long a range bullet made such a small tiny hole? Yeah, the whole situation with like the 30-06 supposedly doing that, a lot of people are having issues with that. So since there are so many people that are gun experts that have gone out and done the experiments, I'll take their word for it as somebody who's not a gun expert. And I know that they're not technically ballistics experts, but they are experts in using guns and things that are adjacent to it. So I'll take their word for it. The people that went out and, you know, tried it out.
The shot, we saw it. He pulled the trigger. You're now just making shit up. He
No,
said, I
bro.
did it. What is the it that he did? And how
He
can
references
you prove it?
exactly what it is that he did.
How can you
So,
prove that he
it's
wrote
really
any
funny.
message at all?
It's really funny. Well, the state says that they pulled the data off his phone.
Even if they said they pulled the data, I don't remember them saying that they matched that data to the other messages, or that they somehow confirmed that Tyler was the one that was holding the phone, or that the messages were sent from that device. I don't remember them saying any of that. So they could say we pulled data, but pulling data in general doesn't mean that that data matched properly what we're expecting. So it seems like we're making a lot of assumptions here.
After they collected it from
Okay,
him.
Well, a lot of people say a lot of things that aren't true. Erica Kirk says that she didn't date or drink, and she
Don't
was
you think
on
that the
a national
prosecution
television
might have
show
brought that
dating
up?
and drinking.
Don't you think the prosecution would have brought up during the preliminary hearing those weren't his messages if they weren't?
Why would the prosecution bring up that they weren't his messages? The prosecution is trying to put him in prison, so it's in their benefit for people to assume that there were the messages. Maybe he means defense? Does he mean defense here?
Stu?
Don't you think that the prosecution's
Answer the
job
question,
at the
Stu.
preliminary hearing is to provide their
Answer the question, why would does he mean defense? Because the prosecution does not make sense in this context. Or is he just like not with it?
most damning evidence? We've seen the totality of
I'm
it.
asking
What
about the
is it
defense.
that
Why
convinces
didn't
you
the
that
defense
Tyler
say that,
Robinson
Stu?
shot Charlie Kirk?
Why didn't the defense say these messages are not authentic? He did not write them.
Okay, so he is talking about the defense. And this was just a preliminary hearing. It's not their job to, like, I guess, pull out all of their cards and refute every single piece of evidence. That's for the trial. So there are a lot of rules here that are in the state's favor for the preliminary hearing. I think we played a clip earlier in part one where it seems like they were also not really sure which part is, or maybe I cut that one out. There was a clip that was, I don't know if we ended up including or not, but there was a clip that I was also going through when I was going through them when they were like watching the preliminary hearing, and there was some confusion on his part exactly what the preliminary was and wasn't about. So at first he seemed like he was treating it as more of a trial, like, oh, well, it's the preliminary part, it's a preliminary hearing. So he was like putting it together with the trial more. And then the Ryan guy was more like, well, no, it's different. But then he didn't want to disagree too much with the big bad Andrew Wilson, who nobody can possibly disagree with. So he's still like, even though he tried to move it in the right direction, he still came back to like somehow agree with him, even though they were disagreeing. It was super cringe. I don't know if I remember if I kept it or not, but if somebody's interested, let me know afterwards and I'll send it to you.
Why didn't they say
Because
that,
it is
Stu?
not the defense's job to do that. Again, you
Yeah, it
don't
is the
understand
defense's job to
judicial
Not necessarily during a preliminary hearing.
process in this country.
Bro, that is
A
the defense's
preliminary
job.
hearing is the equivalent of a grand jury. It is
And
not
does
the
the
defense's
defense get
job.
to-
It is not the defense's turn to put on a show and talk about how innocent Tyler Robinson is at a preliminary hearing.
So
It is
let's
the
pretend you were at a
prosecution's
grand.
job to prove that there is enough evidence to put him on trial for his life. And
So Stu, let's pretend for a second that
you
you're in a
acknowledge that
grand
that's right?
jury. No,
Hold
that's
on.
not correct. It's not correct. I'll
not?
show you. I'll prove it.
sure.
So let's pretend that you're at your own grand jury hearing for them to see if they're going to send you off to trial or not, or a preliminary like this. Would you, if you were in Tyler Robbins?
Wait, he's comparing it to a grand jury, but then he's saying you're going to the grand jury to get sent to a preliminary like this. I thought we were trying to compare a grand jury to the preliminary, so you would be compared to being at the preliminary, not that the preliminary is after what's supposed to be compared to the preliminary. I am not a lawyer, so I can't exactly say one way or another, but it doesn't seem like they know what they're talking about either. So.
Position have wanted your lawyers to introduce that the one smoking gun that they have over all else, which is text messages, weren't even Tyler Robinson's if they had some evidence to that? Wouldn't you, Stu?
Completely.
It's up to the state to prove that those were his and that he was holding the phone and that he had in his possession when those were sent and that those were sent from his device. It's up to the state to prove that. It's not up to the defense to constantly provide proof of innocence. I don't know if he knows that that's innocent until proven guilty. It's up to the state to prove the guilt, not the other way around. So you don't have to prove innocence. And it's certainly I do want to hear/see, I guess, how the main trial is going to go down. I really hope that Tyler makes it to that trial. I hope that, he stays in this, I guess, world. It's not really a laughing matter. It's actually pretty terrifying. I don't know why I did a nervous laugh there, but it's pretty concerning how poorly that preliminary went. And they're scrambling right now. All the propagandists, including this one here, are scrambling right now to try to make people think that they really had something there or that the defense didn't have anything and this and that, even though most people that are discerning saw that all that evidence was basically bullshit. And now they're trying to make it seem more than what it really was. So now is okay, so they did the preliminary hearing. Now they can see if all these propagandists can do their job and sort of shift the public's opinion towards the state. And if not, I don't know what their plan B is, but if this is what they had for the preliminary when they're supposed to be presenting their best evidence, if this is their best evidence, I don't think the trial is going to go well for the state.
Unprecedented and totally out of order.
How would it be
and against the
unprecedented?
rules, 100% against this is not the judicial process.
Yes, it is the judicial process.
First of all,
Why couldn't
grand
they do
jury
that?
indictments are secret. Okay, so you don't go up here before your grand jury.
I said preliminary, Stu.
Okay, preliminary hearings are the equivalent of a grand jury. It is the prosecution's job to show the defense and the court all of the evidence to exhibit whether or not there is enough evidence for the judge to say, yes, this guy should go on trial for his life. So we have seen the totality of all of the evidence that the prosecution has.
Text messages.
What is the evidence that you say proves that Tyler Robinson shot Charlie Kirk with his
Well,
grandfather's
we would do
30-06
yeah,
from the
great.
rooftop of the Losi building?
Yep. The fact that he said that he did it
Where's
in
the
text
footage
messages.
that Jack Posobiec says that he saw?
The fact
Where's
that he
the
said,
footage
so I'm trying to give you the evidence.
Why the
bro. You
need
just
to lie?
He's trying to give us the evidence, but he's just repeating himself that there's text messages. But he hasn't connected the text messages to Tyler. He, beyond that, it's allegedly from Tyler, and that's it. There's no chain of evidence from one point to the other.
never shut up. You never stop talking, just filibuster. So here's the evidence. The evidence is we have his DNA on the scene. The evidence is that he sent
On the scene, as in on the screwdriver. And it might not even be the scene considering, Candace put out that video that is slightly more detailed than the blobs we got previously from the state. And it doesn't seem like there's even a gun up on the roof. So whoever was on that roof, it doesn't look like they had a rifle at all. So I'm not even sure that there was a shot. And if there was, I'm finding it difficult to believe that it came from that roof. But even if there was somebody on that roof, there were like drops of sweat that they tested and other things, but they couldn't connect those to Tyler. And the only thing that they did test that was up there was that screwdriver, and there were issues with the screwdriver as well. I think there were like, was it the prints that were degraded? Something on it was more degraded than everything else. And it's a movable object. You can take that screwdriver and put it up there. Like Tyler didn't have to be there to like for a screwdriver with his DNA on it to end up on that roof. But and there's other weird things with the screwdriver. Was it Candace that mentioned recently, or was it somebody else? There were people that have been bringing up older reports from the media when this first was going down, and the media has been reporting that originally that the screwdriver was apparently found with the gun, and then eventually they changed it to up on the roof, and then the person that found we went over this during the preliminary like evidence review thing earlier, but the guy that allegedly found the screwdriver, his like body camera went out supposedly like as soon as he got up there to find it, and I don't think it was even mentioned in a report. So all of these things where he's like, oh well, the defense isn't doing this or that. The defense isn't supposed to prove his innocence. They're supposed to basically poke holes in the case, and they have been doing that to the extent that they can do it at this point. They have been. Every piece of evidence that the state has presented, the defense has poked very big holes in, especially this like, oh, he was up there, they can place him up there. They really can't in any way that survives, chain of custody or survives any sort of logic when you add it all up together. They don't have anything. The person that allegedly found the screwdriver, again, his webcam went out, and that's something that we know because the defense has been doing the cross-exam with that witness when they're trying to add this evidence in, and they were like, hey, so I didn't see the footage. What happened to it? And super shady stuff. Super shady. So it's interesting that he's tossing in all these things that they supposedly have, but he's also saying that supposedly the defense didn't do enough to prove his innocence, even though all they could really do at this point is poke holes in the prosecution's evidence, and they poked a lot of holes. So he's conveniently disregarding all the holes that were poked and sort of pretending like all this evidence that's being admitted is, completely 100% legit. There's no issues with it. Nothing of the sort, even though it's quite the opposite. There's probably more issues with the evidence than there are things that make it, I guess, legitimate. There are more points that make it illegitimate than there are that make it legitimate. It's actually pretty concerning. Streamlabs. You're responding to the Streamlabs Discord thing. Yep. If you do join, you get put into like a landing zone, and then after the stream, I'll add you to the rest of it. Just say hi or something, so no, you're not the bots trying to get us. Did you see how all the bodyguards hid something on the table? One looks under the table, then they all scoot quickly out after the shot. No, I haven't seen that. I actually had plans to at some point go back through and catch up on all the things from the beginning of the case, because when it first went down, I thought there were suspicious things going on, but I, like most people, were like, oh, she's acting weird because, trauma does weird things to people, and, leave her alone. She just lost her husband, et cetera, et cetera. That was me originally, and I was like, hey, wait a minute. So I'm a little bit late to the case, so all the things from the beginning, I was sort of suspicious from what I was hearing around, but I didn't really start investigating until maybe around December or so. So all the things from right as things were happening, I would like to go back at some point and sort of rewatch all the items with like the perspective that I have now of like looking for suspicious things, because at the time I was just kind of like, but yeah, I think that I do recall seeing people do weird things, but I don't know if you could point a camera at a bunch of people in a random spot, and you could notice how later people are doing sort of weird or unusual things, but it's not really that unusual. It just so happens that you don't usually pay attention to people doing these things with like the signals and stuff, or like going in a certain direction, looking a certain way, like doing certain actions. People just don't usually pay attention to that kind of stuff. So maybe now that we're paying attention, it makes it weird, but it could very well be that there's something very shady going on. That is also very possible, especially with how they've been acting after the fact. Very shady. But I don't know. I will take a look again. That is planned at some point. I'm not sure when I have time, but I do have plans to review all of that stuff again from like the beginning days, because I think there's probably stuff to find there that people didn't think was important at the time, but with knowing what we know now, there might be important things there to find for sure. Conveniently, for sure. And that odd chair falling through the platform / table. Yeah, that platform was weird in general. Like the platform itself that they had him on, that was so weird. It seemed so awkward. It was like very pointy too. Something that I personally don't put too much stock in is the whole like witchcraft part of it. I do know that people believe in that kind of thing, and it's not that we have to believe in it, it's that we have to acknowledge that some people that are out there that are bad do believe in it, and it's possible that things may have been set up that way, but I don't know for a fact. The Pentagon thing is weird, but I don't know. But something that also sort of reminded me of pentagrams on the scene is certain angles, like when that like platform that he's on, if you look from like the bottom side angle of it, a lot of those lines on that platform, the way that they're angled, kind of look like pentagram shaped, but not really. And then like the inside where his tent poles are across all the little angles and stuff also seemed kind of pentagrammy, but not really. They just sort of close, but not really. And it's probably just a coincidence, but I thought it was kind of interesting with people like bringing up the whole pentagram stuff. And the platform is weird. The tent is kind of whatever. That's probably just coincidence. But the platform, I don't know. The fact that it's there at all is weird. It looked uncomfortable. It seemed kind of like a falling / tripping hazard. And I'm sure it didn't help when, he got pulled down like that too. So overall, I don't know. I wouldn't go on a platform like that and sit up on a thing. Like, and I don't even have to really generally fear for my life. So I wouldn't sit on something like that in general. And again, not that he needed to. There were previous shows that he has done from similar setups, but without the weird platform. And I think I saw somebody else stand on the platform too, kind of behind him. Was it one of the security guys maybe? They were also doing like a platform thing. But those I kind of understand, like they have to be higher up to see people and make sure people aren't like coming at him. So much for that. That helped in the end. But him being on the platform just seems wrong. It's like propping him up to be an easier target, while like propping up the security people makes sense. Propping up the person you're trying to protect doesn't seem to make sense at all. It's weird. All right, let's not get too distracted here. Inside's job. I'll help link you. But like anyone discern it's each of ours. That is true. From overhead, it looked like a menorah. The courtyard maybe? I haven't heard that before. So it was like those ritual sacrifice kind of thing. It's possible. You never know. You never know people. Like, you don't have to yourself believe in ritual sacrifice to understand that there are bad people out there that do. And if they take actions based upon this kind of stuff, it doesn't prove that this kind of stuff actually does anything, but it just shows that people do believe in it. So, like, there are known cases of people doing creepy ritual sacrifice on a smaller scale, and you don't have to agree that the ritual sacrifice does anything for those people, and like you don't have to agree that it's magical in whatever way. Like, you don't even have to believe in that it means anything at all for you to understand that there are people who do and they act upon it. So that means that these kinds of things matter and the clues around it matter, because people out there do believe in this kind of stuff.
All of the text messages over. The evidence is overwhelming in that regard.
Okay,
He
so-
sent the text messages to them. They
Okay.
pulled the data off.
Overwhelming. If only, you know what? That's a bad idea. I was gonna say, drink every time somebody says overwhelming in regards to the evidence, but you know, that's a bad idea. You would die. All right, let's see if we can get through some more of it, because I don't want to.
off the phone,
Sure.
right? I don't
Okay,
know,
so
Not too
like, what
much.
else
accept
would you
that.
want?
I'll accept that. So you've got early on. What?
And also, he keeps like saying, "Oh, we have all this evidence, overwhelming mountains of evidence," but then all he keeps really coming back to is the text messages, and I've already shown how that's not really connected all the way through, and how if it's not connected all the way through, it can't possibly be overwhelming.
It was it that they talked about the confession, by the way.
Why would
Do
that?
you
Why would
remember
that
what
be
day of the week
relevant
it was?
to the confession?
Well, because Monday through Thursday, we saw the preliminary hearings where it's the defense's job to sit and listen to the prosecution present their case
Oh yeah, let me refresh real quick.
against their client. It is not their job to argue their client's innocence. And by the way, that is not how the judicial system works, once again, in this country. It is to prove a man guilty beyond the shadow of a reasonable doubt. Do you agree with that?
Yes, that I agree
Okay.
with.
So, on
Well,
Monday, Tuesday,
no,
Wednesday, or
beyond
Thursday,
reasonable,
while we were
beyond
watching the
reasonable
preliminary
doubt.
hearings,
Hang on, that's to beyond reasonable doubt, not a
beyond
shadow of a
reasonable
doubt.
doubt. Okay,
Yeah.
beyond reasonable doubt that he's guilty. That's their
Yes.
job, to provide the totality of the most damning evidence that they have
Yes,
at the preliminary hearing.
yes, that's
Monday
part of
through
it. Yes.
Thursday, when cameras were allowed in the courtroom,
Mhm.
we heard a lot about DNA.
Yeah.
We heard about all the magic tricks, by the way, that were done on the DNA to make Tyler Robinson show up in the first place.
There
At
was no
first, it
magic tricks.
Only Lance Twigg.
That's just
It
made
was-
up.
It was quite the explanation.
I do wonder. I've just been thinking about this. How I hear people say like the whole like shadow of a doubt. I'm not sure where people have this like shadow thing, like where that comes in. But this isn't the first time I've heard someone try to say like there's a shadow involved there, and I don't know where people get that.
It was a
It
big
really
process
wasn't.
that went into that. That was kind of a outside.
No,
of the
there
standard,
really wasn't a big process that
outside
went
of the
into it.
standard. Are you a DNA expert?
No, I listened to the testimony. What is the big-
Oh. Okay, well played. Well played. In general, I'm not impressed with Stu's performance on this debate, but I think that was a good comeback there because of how earlier he was like, "Oh, are you a ballistic expert? Are you a ballistic expert?" So now that you just listened to the testimony,
big kerfluffle? What was the
Yeah,
magic
well,
trick?
Big
Stu?
kerfluffle was when on Friday they turned the cameras off, and here comes the Bindergate crew rolling into town. Officer Tatum, Jack Posobiec, Benny Johnson, behind closed doors with no cameras in there. Don Jr., they're all there putting on quite the
So?
spectacle for the Fox News people.
Yeah.
And then they come out and they said, "We saw the video. We saw
What
it."
does that have to do with the DNA, Stu?
Because the DNA, which isn't enough, because I don't know how it got there.
Wait, how did we
Okay,
get
so-
to the DNA from this? What
Okay,
are you talking about,
Listen,
dude?
none of what we have heard, none of the bullshit that
yeah, I don't know what exactly that has to do with the DNA, but it seemed like they're talking about different things and sort of talking past each other.
you're spewing as
And I'm not sure why Stu took that. He should have just said like, "Oh, I'm talking about this thing right now," instead of sort of accepting that they should have been talking about DNA. I think that was a mistake.
guy who's paid by Turning Point.
It was not paid by Turning Point.
None
Lie
of
again.
what the prosecution said in the courtroom is
Uh-huh.
enough to convince anybody that Tyler.
And now he's just kind of saying stuff like, yeah, sure, that is true. There isn't enough to convict. I kind of agree, but he's sort of just saying stuff now because he sort of got caught with this, like between the DNA thing and what he was trying to talk about. I don't think that was a good call on his part.
Robinson
Yeah,
shot
but Stu,
Charlie
you
Kirk.
just made a claim. You
Which
just said
is
that they did a
why-
bunch of magic tricks to the
which
DNA. I
is
asked you
why-
what,
hold on.
and you said Jack
Okay,
Posobiec went in and
let's
lied
say
to the
no
camera.
We already discussed the DNA in part 1, so I don't know if we really need to go in that much detail on this. We're sort of trying to play through this part quickly.
magic
about a
tricks were
video.
done. Let's say
What?
no magic tricks were
Okay,
done,
great.
and
Let's
Tyler
say none.
Robinson's DNA was found on a gun that apparently is his own. Okay, great.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And we can get to that.
Okay,
My
let's.
DNA, my
I guess just as a quick recap, there was also other people's DNA found on it. It was all mixtures of DNA. a lot of times his was the most degraded, and his roommate's stuff, or his roommate's DNA was also found on a bunch of stuff, and all the items that are like the most, I guess, related to, well, allegedly, like the gun, etc. Those items did also have other people's DNA on it, but they never tested those things against the roommate, even though everything else had the roommate's DNA on it too. So interesting how some things they did test and other things that would have been more of a problem for the roommate's DNA to end up on, they didn't even test the roommate. So all that is very weird. And then the way that they're framing the DNA is weird. Anyway, we covered that in part 1, so I don't want to repeat too much. But yeah, the DNA honestly was not in the state's benefit here.
DNA is on this pen. If my audio video guy comes and takes this pen and walks out and stabs somebody,
Yeah.
my DNA is on it. Does that mean that I stabbed that person? No. Okay. Well, anyways, none
What?
of the evidence
What
that
does
was
that have to do with
presented-
anything?
What do you mean, what does that have to do with anything? Okay, there he actually made a good example of how just because somebody's DNA is on something, it doesn't mean that it doesn't prove that that person did anything. It just proves that their DNA is on it. Even if they can't even prove that, because in this case, it seems like they can't even really prove it. They can sort of show it, but there's always mixtures. There's always, it's degraded. It's this and that. There's all these caveats to it. So
none of the evidence because the DNA wasn't enough.
By itself, it wouldn't be
the
enough.
confession
The
wasn't
fact
enough.
oh, let me guess. There's also text messages.
He happened to,
Everybody knows that it's not enough, which is why
Yeah.
Jack Posobiec and Benny Johnson lied. It's why they misrepresented what happened in the
That's
courtroom.
just, bro.
That's why they came out
you
of the
see how you
courtroom
get
and
to a
lied,
conclusion?
because they know
You
that
see
what
how
has been
that makes
shown is not enough
Yeah,
evidence
yeah,
to
bro.
convince anybody
Stu.
that putting this patsy to death is
How did you get to the
reasonable.
conclusion, Stu? How do you get to the conclusion that because
Posobiec
it
lied?
wouldn't be enough if some guy out in your parking lot stabbed somebody with your pen that your DNA was on it, that somehow that means Jack Posobiec has to lie about seeing a video? That
Okay,
conclusion
no.
doesn't follow from
That's not I don't think that's what he was trying to say. I think that's kind of a stretch to try to accuse Stu of framing it, though. I don't know how he possibly heard that, but yeah, that doesn't follow. But I also don't think that's what Stu was trying to say.
what you just said. What are you?
Let me catch up on chat real quick. People that believe it and act on it, which is only secret means of doing what everyone can involving the ether. Dark as Dark says, just one John. Gonna call it a night. Has Albon, no matter who wins the debate, just know Andrew lost to a jar. That is true. Lost to multiple jars. Stu low-key bringing up his audio video guy. Why don't you have an audio video guy? Def not. I must have missed the audio video guy. Bragg. That is. I don't know how I must have missed that, but that's interesting. I should also have an audio video guy. That would be very handy, but this is a very small channel. Why don't I have one? Everybody needs one. Yeah, I mean, obviously, if you don't have one, you lose the debate. So those are the rules.
talking about?
I'm gonna lose all the debates because I don't got one.
brain isn't following. DNA is not enough.
We said no ad
My
hoc.
if my DNA is on the pen, somebody goes and stabs somebody with the pen,
Yeah.
is my DNA being on the pen enough to put me on trial for my life?
No.
Okay, there isn't enough. That is the reason why nobody believes that Tyler Robinson killed him with a 30-06. The public won't believe that.
What
This
are
is
you
why-
talking? Well, that
this
has
is why
nothing
Jack
to do with
Posobiec-
anything.
It's why they felt the need to.
He's asking to talk about the DNA, but when Stu gives him an example of how the DNA isn't conclusive as to guilt, and what else do you have? He's like, well, that doesn't have anything to do with anything. But he was the one that wanted to talk about DNA, so okay.
Why? They know there's not enough. The burden of proof
what
is not
is-
on the people
what-
who are
what-
investigating what
okay,
really happened
Stu.
to Charlie. The
What
burden
is-
of proof is on the prosecution, and there's not enough evidence. I
Stu.
want to know, what is the evidence?
Yeah, we'll go through the evidence again.
You're saying it's
Let me
overwhelming.
guess.
When
Text
you
messages.
say it
The
is the
confession?
case.
Overwhelming text messages again. Every time he said, let's go through the evidence in this debate, every single time it's been text messages. He said he did it. And then once in a while he'll mention something else, but when somebody, well, not somebody, but when Stu points out something, like some issue with it, he'll go back to, well, that's not everything. It's also text messages. And he'll just keep playing this like text messages he admitted it card without drawing the full connection. And like every time something else doesn't really land all the way, he'll bring up the text messages again, as if like he's been bringing up all these different pieces of evidence this whole time, even though it's like the same piece of evidence over and over again. Oh, I have to read this one. This one is funny. When can Andrew not open a door? When the door is ajar. That is a good one. You know, I have a thing. Oh, maybe I have to fix it. I don't know. Anyway,
That
When you
wasn't
say-
enough.
I did have a soundboard for that one.
Bro.
DNA wasn't enough.
Nico, you got to
The grainy
moderate at
video
some point.
wasn't
Dude.
enough.
This guy's not allowed to just
None of it was
filibuster
enough.
the
You're
entire
right.
There's interruptions
time.
on both
Tyler
sides. Like we're not even
Robinson's
able. If we have to be.
This is a filibuster. He won't even let me respond to the things he asked me. We asked me a question, then he answers the damn question he asked me.
No,
so
that's
the thing
exactly what
is
you're
like,
doing.
look, here's how it works, bro. You're right. DNA is not enough. A text message confession, along with the fact that Tyler Robinson was in the area, which is very strange, right? We have his vehicle that's there. We have him there. We have the rifle that happens to be his grandfather's in the woods. Boy, nothing suspicious here. On top of all of that, we have his text message that is going to his boyfriend, right? Everything is pointing at Robinson, which
There's also a bunch of issues with. I mean, do we have to recap it again?
is why you can't even support your
I
alternative
think
theories
that
that
there's a
you've
lot
been
of suspicious
postulating.
things about the 30-06 and it being his grandfather's. I think there's a lot of suspicions
What?
about the property that the rifle was placed
What?
on. I think there's
What?
a lot of suspicions about how Tyler Robinson
let's
was
start
able
with
to
them.
navigate. Okay, sure.
Let's start with
I'm
just the
telling you right
suspicions
now.
about the rifle. What are the suspicions?
Okay, well, is it his rifle? Is it his grandfather's rifle? Is it ostensible, of course, that plausible that his DNA would be on it? Does that mean that he used it to murder Charlie Kirk?
Well, how did it get there, Stu?
How can I tell you how it got there? Did
Do you
Lance
think-
Twiggs bring it there? Because his DNA is
So,
on it too.
so Twigs, you think that Twigs brought it there?
We don't know that Twig's DNA is on the gun. That's kind of what's interesting about it, is they didn't test him against the gun, but they tested him against other stuff. So why not test him against the gun? Because there is other people's DNA all over that thing,
Say that. It's not
and
incumbent
not just one, like lots of different people.
upon me to prove that Lance Twiggs
Got
brought
it.
anything anywhere because he's not on trial for his
Do
life.
you know
still
that
don't understand
we
how
still
the
use
judicial system
inductive?
is supposed to
Yeah,
work
we
in this
use
country.
induction.
You're not
Stu.
supposed to railroad
We use
patsies.
induction.
You're supposed to use
We
evidence.
use induction. If Tyler Robinson there, Tyler Robinson
What is
rifle
the
there,
evidence
text
that
message
Tyler
from Tyler
Robinson-
Robinson saying that he ditched his rifle there, we can use inductive reasoning to put him
We can't validate that those messages came from Tyler Robinson, the person. I haven't seen that.
both there on the scene. We can also have
You can't really put him on the scene either. All the videos that have of supposedly Tyler look different one from the other. You can never see his face. They're all like blurred beyond what they should be blurred. And they don't all, like, they don't start and end as soon as he's in frame. Like, they start kind of randomly and end kind of randomly. And by randomly, I mean probably in a way that prevents us from seeing whatever's inconvenient for us to see.
his rifle on the scene. We also have the bullets that he inscribed with his own Dremel gun on the scene. Boy, that's a huge series of coincidences, Stu. I'm
We
glad that you
also-
have tons of alternative
That the roommate also had access to.
theories that are much better. Oh, wait, you don't.
We also have Lance Twiggs' DNA on the murder weapon. We
Uh-huh.
don't
I don't think we have that.
see Tyler Robinson with a murder weapon. We don't see Tyler Robinson with a rifle at all.
That's true.
We don't see anybody holding a rifle. We have a 30-06 that has dust in the barrel.
Why
which
would
it
you
was
need-
never
That's true.
Shot.
Yeah.
Did you know that? Did you consider that evidence?
Yeah, some people are saying like, oh, well, it was sitting in bushes, but I don't think just like sitting in bushes would mean that it's like suddenly dusty on the inside. I think it takes time for dust to accumulate in a barrel. Like it would not have been shot for a while if it was freshly fired. Even if you put it in bushes, I mean, and like wasn't it wrapped in a towel? So how would it be so dusty on the inside? None, like that one is weird to me. I know that they tried to explain around it, but it's weird.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
hey,
nothing
hang on.
suspicious at all.
Yeah,
but
let's
there's a
start
lot
with
of
that.
things
Hey,
suspicious.
here,
Hold on.
let's go over that.
Hold on.
Dust
There's a
in
lot
the
of things
rifle
suspicious.
bore.
You asked me what's suspicious.
I'm gonna.
trying to
I
tell
want to
you,
do
and
one
now
point
you're
at a time.
filibustering.
I want to do 1 point at a time.
Let's,
So let's do
let's
the
stick to the dust in the rifle. Let's
Yeah,
shoot
so
him.
Put
guess
your-
it was
go ahead.
ditched in a forest, Stu.
Wrapped in a towel.
Guess what exists in forests? Dirt.
Yeah, see, I knew he was gonna say that, because that is a common thing people say. But again, it was wrapped in a towel, and it. Yeah, I mean, of course, making all these weird. What is with that? That's so immature.
Dust. Wow, this is mind blowing. Also, point 2, just because you fire a rifle doesn't blow out all the dust, Stu. It doesn't
How do
blow
you
it
know
all
that?
out, bro. I don't know what the
How do
hell
you
you're
know that?
talking about. Because, man, I've been working on rifles my entire life.
Okay.
You could take your granddaddy's 357,
Okay.
go
How did it-
outside from
how did it
30
get
years
on the
ago,
roof?
shoot it.
How
What?
did it get on the roof? The rifle.
Tyler Robinson took it up on.
Do they have evidence for that? Because I don't see Tyler Robinson, and I don't see a rifle, and not only do I not see either of those on the roof, I don't even see them going towards the roof. Like I don't see anybody that looks like Tyler Robinson more than like a handful of other types of faces. And it could be like it could literally be like types, like whole categories of different face types, which would mean like hundreds of thousands of different people could match that criteria. The height was also not quite matching, and you can see the pants. Like some people keep saying, "Oh, he's got a rifle down his pants." There's no rifle in those pants. Okay, you can tell. You can tell there's a phone. If you can see the outline of the phone, you'll be able to see the outline of a rifle. This is just so stupid. Must have been a very dusty towel. I know my towels are dusty.
How do you know that?
By the way, the towel also had the other guy's DNA on it too. So did the screwdriver. So did a bunch of other stuff too. I don't think they, but they didn't test him for the gun, and they didn't test him for, like the Dremel. I think there's some other things, but they tested the guy for things that could be explained innocently, like the roommate. But they didn't test him for things that it would actually be like, hey, wait a minute. And there's already without even that, there's enough things to be like, hey, wait a minute.
Is there video of that?
There's video that
No,
appears
you just
to
have
be.
the feds telling you
Yeah,
that.
you wouldn't actually need
The feds are just telling you.
This doesn't even help your case. You wouldn't even need
I
video
don't have a
of
case.
Robinson specifically
The state
being
has a
up there.
case against
Yeah,
Tyler
again,
Robinson, and he's
okay.
on.
Sure, you would not need it, but we do have video of somebody being up there, and you don't see a rifle. And they supposedly have video of what they claim is Robinson going up there, and it don't look like him. Not only does it not look like him, you don't see a freaking rifle. So if the video exists, it better match. If the video, like if there just was no, if there were no cameras on campus, sure, you might be able to still get a conviction without the cameras. People have been doing it for years. But if there are cameras all over the campus, they better match the story. And so far they don't.
They also would not actually need to demonstrate via video. Most crimes are not solved with video.
Yeah, but where video exists, you better have it and it better match.
They would not even need to demonstrate that he went up there with the
They're
rifle. They would
showing
never
us
even
video
need
as
to
part
demonstrate
of
it.
this propaganda case that
Yeah,
they're
right.
running.
But
They're
you're
showing
saying
us
because
video.
you can't
Tyler
recognize him,
Robinson,
that's
here
not
he
good
is.
enough evidence.
But they are trying to demonstrate it and failing.
Here he is 3 times on campus.
Yeah, but
That's what they're
again,
using as the
yes,
propaganda to put him on
but they
trial.
wouldn't even need it, Stu.
Is
They wouldn't
being
even
on
need it.
campus a crime?
They wouldn't even
How does
need
being on
it.
campus and being on video connect you to the shooting death of Charlie Kirk?
Because your rifle's
Nobody
found
can
in the
answer that.
forest when you send your text message when you send your boyfriend a bunch of text messages saying that you killed the guy. That's
He
how
didn't
they
say that
tied
he
it
killed
in,
the guy.
Stu.
He said, I did it.
Yeah, I
He
did
didn't say
what?
that he killed the guy.
I did.
Exactly. Did what? Did what? I mean, we're doing a lot of assuming here, and by we I mean Wilson.
What? I went out and played Pogs with my friends.
You asked me if there was anything suspicious
They're
about the rifle.
they're
There is a lot of
specifically
suspicious
talking
things
about
the rifle.
They're
The
specifically
dust in
talking
the
about what
barrel-
happened to
the
Charlie
dust in the
Kirk,
barrel
and he
is
said I did it.
suspicious.
Okay, we're
The
almost
dust
out of
in the
time.
Dust in the barrel is
We're-
suspicious.
Yeah, from being left in a
Being
forest.
placed
Stu.
on Palantir property is suspicious.
It wasn't
Somebody
placed on
else's
Palantir
DNA.
property.
That's
That's
We're
not
somebody
almost,
true
else's
either.
DNA.
hold on, both of you. We're almost out of time. I would like to ask about Candace Owens and her investigation from almost the past year. If you want to I'm curious both of your opinions on Candace Owens' investigation. If we can conclude on that.
I
Well,
hope she
it
goes
hasn't-
Max. I hope she
It
keeps going.
must not have gone so great. The defense hasn't even reached out to her, is what I'm told. And interestingly enough, just like with Stu Peters, not one single shred of new evidence
Wait
that
a
these
minute,
people
based on what you're
uncovered that they
told.
actually back. None of them actually back their own theories, conjectures, evidence, nothing. And they just say there's no evidence for Robinson, even though you pointed out a million times to them that there is. They don't even have reputations for that. So when you're talking
I
about
do.
Candace Owens, she has not
We just
solved
spent
the
the last
case.
hour here
Detective
of me
Owens,
refuting all of the evidence
haven't
that the
refuted
feds
shit.
have told us exists to
You just
convict
said, how do you
Tyler
know?
Robinson and has Erica Kirk forgiving him. I just
Yeah, but
refuted
that has
every
nothing.
single bit of it. I told
That
you all
doesn't
of the
do. That does
inconsistencies.
nothing
Just
for your position.
keep interrupting. You keep interrupting.
I was in the
And then
middle
you
of
accuse me
talking.
of
Am I interrupting your interruption?
Okay, well, you're interrupting each other. Whatever.
Yeah, you're saying
Okay,
that
we
nobody
have about
has
10 minutes
been
left. I'm
able
going to bring
blow
the timer
holes
back.
in
Let's
any
do.
of the evidence.
But we have about a little less than 10 minutes left. Let's do about the 1 minute timer. I want to see both of your opinions about Candace Owens' investigation. Start with Stu. If you have 1 minute, please go.
I hope that she goes Max. I love it. You know what? This might be the only friend that Charlie Kirk actually really had. It's my opinion that the people around her weren't really her friends. The people around Charlie Kirk definitely weren't really his. I haven't seen any mourning at all, and I don't know how Andrew Wilson is claiming that the defense hasn't contacted Candace. I would be interested. Who told you that? Who told you that?
Candace said it on her show. They can contact me, and they clearly didn't.
You said that what you heard. So you're talking
From
about
the
Candace
source.
previously saying
This is the source.
That was like months and months ago. So even if that was true then, it doesn't mean it's still true. And he is sort of assuming that that's still true. That was a long time ago. And even if they didn't, I'm not really sure exactly what that proves. If anything, it might be more suspicious because she has broken lots of evidence out that I think a defense would find interesting if they were, legitimate and honest and really trying to win for their client. So if anything, it's more suspicious that the defense wouldn't have. But you never know. Like, they could be doing some math and being like, well, if we use Candace Owens stuff, then that might hurt us in the trial. Like, people might have, the jury might be biased against Candace Owens. And if they try to bring in her stuff and her info or like her in any way, they could be thinking it could hurt their chances with the jury, just because you have to consider things like that, because jury could be biased towards somebody and you don't want to rattle that. So if there's something that she has or she has released, it's possible they might still use that. But whether they contact her or not, I don't know if that really proves anything in Wilson's favor. And I also don't know if he can even prove that they haven't contacted her again. That's something she said months ago. So he's sort of assuming that it's still true.
at that point. Oh, okay, because you said that.
That's the
from
source
what
is
you
Candace,
understand.
yes.
Okay.
That would be
So
the source.
when she said that.
Okay, so using Candace as a source is okay now. That's interesting too. If anybody else tried to use Candace as a source, I guarantee that this would not it would not flow well for him.
The defense hadn't contacted her.
Okay,
Yeah.
Andrew, go. You have a minute uninterrupted about
Okay,
Candace
yeah,
Owens'
great.
investigation.
So this is super easy, right? They haven't uncovered shit.
He'll be like, "Oh, you can't use Candace as a source. You can't do that," but he can.
Nothing. They just make these claims of like, oh, Charlie Kirk's friends betrayed him and they were mean to him and they actually secretly hated him and all this bullshit, right? But they never demonstrate any of it, ever. They've never been able to tie a single member of the TPUSA team, nor Erica Kirk, nor anybody else other than Robinson to this. Not one fucking person have they been able to.
Actually, a lot of people, quite a few people have, including myself, have pointed out how it looks like Lance Twiggs has quite a few ties to the case, DNA-wise and otherwise. He's basically, I mean, everything rests on his word, basically. And he is physically all over it. So, I mean, people have pointed to somebody else that is probably more likely than anybody else, but I don't even believe that, it was... I'm not saying that I think that Lance Twiggs went out there on his own and did all this. I think it's very likely he might be involved in some way, maybe, but as far as like, oh no, instead of this one guy, it's this one guy. Like I don't think so. But I don't know exactly who he's saying. Like I think sure, Stu is has like alleged things before, but like I haven't, and it seems like Wilson is sort of like lumping everybody in with Stu and is saying, well, you people accuse this and that, when most people who do this like investigative stuff seriously don't make accusations, and the people who do get lumped in with the people who don't, and the people who don't make accusations get accused of accusing, and the people who apparently do the accusing try to defend themselves with the people who don't. Anyway, this is getting confusing.
Tied to this from TPUSA. Nobody. No, hang on. Stu, do you know what the word uninterrupted means? That means it's my turn. So the thing is funny is like they haven't uncovered anything. Nothing. All they do is say
Nothing?
TPUSA is lying about this.
I think quite a few things have been uncovered. I think I should do a video on that at some point for people that say stuff like this, because this is another talking point. There have been a lot of people that do these like sort of propaganda talking points, and they all have the same script. This is the same exact script, down to like, oh, the rifle was found in the woods, down to like word for word, it's like the same script, down to like, oh, Candace never showed anything, they have nothing, they never investigated anything, they never found anything. That's not true. That's just not true. There's mountains, literally mountains of overwhelming things that were found. So yeah, I mean, to sort of play on the mountains and overwhelming words that they keep using.
Lying about that, blah, 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 blah. TPUSA is also, it's not incumbent upon them to investigate this. It's not incumbent upon them to do law enforcement's jobs, not incumbent upon them to do any of that. You can call Erica Kirk a liar because you disagree with her theories, but I can't say you're lying because you won't support any of your theories. That's hilarious to me. You just say it's not incumbent on me, but somehow it's incumbent.
What do you mean her theories? She doesn't really have theories. She's sort of like sitting there spewing nonsense and swimming in cash. What theories does Erica Kirk have?
On them, that's an insane position. They've uncovered nothing.
Stu, go ahead. You have a
Nothing
minute.
new to date.
Actually,
Nothing.
there's been a lot uncovered, and yeah, there are confirmed times where Erica Kirk has lied over and over again, and you said that. You conceded that. You're like, yeah, they're all fucking liars, because every single one of them has been caught in lies. They lie when telling the truth would suit them better. What do you mean?
No, bro,
What do
I
you mean?
didn't.
You
I
can
said I
say
could
that they lie,
grant.
but there's no
I said I
evidence.
could.
Oh, of course. But he does this all the time. It's so predictable. He does this whole like, oh, I'll just grant this, I'll just grant that, and I'm like, yeah, he's just granting when it's like he can't defend it, and then when somebody calls him out for admitting something, he's like, well, I was just granting for like a conversation. It's just so
They
predictable.
ran the entirety of the position that all of them were liars, and it does nothing for you to tie them to the
But
murder.
it does, because
Nothing.
they're on a propaganda tour trying to hang a guy. They're trying to kill a guy, saying that Charlie Kirk was,
How does that tie them
Judeo-Christian,
to the murder?
pro-Israel, fervent pro-Israel, Judeo-Christian guy.
Tie them to the murder, Stu.
Okay, so you're saying what? How does
Tie
that
them
tie?
to the murder.
They're not.
That's your claim. Your claim is that they're all
It's
part
Tyler
of it.
Robinson that's on trial for his life.
Yeah, so again, I don't watch the Stupiders Network, but it seems like this came about because he did make some allegations. So if he made some allegations, he should defend them. He doesn't get to make allegations and then come on the show and be like, oh, well, I was just asking questions, if he wasn't just asking questions the whole time. If you're asking questions legitimately and you're not accusing anybody, sure, you can play that card. I could play that card because I am not accusing anybody of anything. But you can't accuse people and then turn around and say you're not accusing people.
I get it, Stu, but what I'm asking you
Okay,
is why
and
do you
they're
guys
lying
always make
about-
the claims that these
What
people
do you
are
mean,
involved?
Candace Owens? Okay, what do you mean the investigation has produced nothing? What about just the other day when she produced text messages from like a year and a half ago where Charlie
Which
Kirk was
said?
saying "fuck the Jews"?
Well, that's not
You
what
know,
he
where-
said.
where he was-
That's a lie.
he said,
you
"I'm
just
telling
made
all these
you
Jews to
literally
go to
just
hell."
made that up. He's
Is that Cinco drawing on the screen? Instead, oh,
Too
just
bad.
kidding.
This happened with
Wait. They weren't.
hours of
Yeah,
that
like
being
all
revealed
Google
on my
Trends
show. People that
You
are
can't
there.
prove
It
that
is
they
the
came from
stand-
Fort Tejuca, can you, Stu?
Can you prove that Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk?
I have evidence at least that I can point to.
You're like, you can point to their existing evidence, but you can't plug all the holes, and the boat is like full of holes and it's leaking all over the place.
I have
Yes, you
evidence
can't
that I
point to
discuss on my
anything.
show every single day.
What?
It's called an
What?
investigation, and that's
What
no different
evidence
than
do
what
you
the
have that
prosecution
Andrew
is
Colvett was at
doing.
Fort Tachuca?
What
What
evidence
evidence?
is there that Tyler Robinson shot Charlie Kirk?
Yeah. Okay. So it wasn't Andrew Colvett, and I wish that I like in part one. Thank you. What was it? Was it Mark? So, somebody corrected me in part one because I heard them talking about it and then I sort of went with it, even though it kind of sounded wrong to me too. But it was Brian Harpole. Brian Harpole was the one that was allegedly seen there. Thanks, Stephnut says John. See ya. Hope to see you again. Haven't seen you before. I'll come back anytime. Yay, his granting.
The fact that his rifle was on the scene and that there's tons of DNA evidence and a text message confession.
This is what you always do, which is
Yes,
why
give
there's
you
no
evidence.
upside to whoever agreeing to debate you in the first place, but nobody else will. These cowards will not come out here and address any of these claims. They just block you.
You won't
post
address any
20-year-old
claims.
booking photos and run.
Bro, you
They
won't
provide
address
fake
any
alibis.
claims.
They lie about dating. They lie about drinking.
You lied
They
about the
lie
mic.
what
You
day
lied
of the
about
week
Fort
it is.
Tachuca. You lied that Andrew Colvett
No,
was
I
Jewish.
didn't.
Can he not say Huachuca? Or at least like try? He keeps saying Tachuca.
You lie
I'm
constantly.
discussing evidence. I'm discussing Department of Defense contracts. I'm just
Then answer the question.
I'm discussing munition plants that are blowing up 30 days
If
after
you're
he
not a
dies.
liar,
I'm
if you're not a
discussing
liar, then
the
answer the
contract
question.
going to
Was Erica
that
Kirk and
particular place. That
TPUSA
defense
and
contractor blew
yeah.
up.
Let's
Are
find
you
out if
going
you're
to
honest.
ignore all of these
Yeah,
things?
let's find out.
All of
They're just like screaming over each other. That's kind of lame.
these
Find-
things into
Stu,
any
let's
AI
find out if you're
calculator,
honest.
It will
Did
tell you
TPUSA
the
and
chances
Erica
of this
Kirk
all
and
being
Israel
coincidence are
conspire
impossible. It's
to
incalculable.
kill Charlie Kirk or not?
You're not gonna have me making a definitive.
I'm not
like,
gonna
here we are
ever.
at the end.
You know how we saw the clip earlier about Andrew saying, "Oh, I hope TPUSA sues them, etc., etc." If you keep that in mind from when we just saw that, when the stream started, when I pulled up that clip of him saying, "Oh, you know, they should sue them," and you keep this in mind together, it almost seems like he's trying to give them something to sue about, if you know what I mean. It almost seems like that a little bit, because here he is trying to get him to trying to bait him into saying directly alleging something about TPUSA, and then after the sentence he's on his own stream bringing up things about they should sue him, etc., etc. I think it technically was started by a super chat, but he seemed very adamant about oh yeah, you know, TPUSA should be suing these people. So it seems like he's pro TPUSA suing, and here he is trying to get someone to give them something to sue about, possibly.
I knew it. I told everybody.
That's right.
Andrew Wilson is literally here to try to drag Baron Coleman and everybody else into defamation lawsuits on behalf of Erica Kirk.
And that's possible. I think that's an interesting take. I don't have evidence for it besides the fact that it's kind of interesting that he keeps framing things this way, and he's very pro, you know, sue these people. So again, I don't know that that's exactly he's, you know, back there plotting this stuff. I don't know that. But it's kind of you know, could be.
There's a team
What
of
are you
lawyers that
talking
sent
about?
you out to go do that. You were trolling.
Never
Baron
happened.
Coleman.
You just
were
made it
trolling
all up.
Project Constitution.
Never made a
You
single
were coming
claim.
at me.
Bro,
Anybody
never
who had a
happened.
claim.
You're
Do you want
lying.
to debate? Do you want to debate? Do you want to debate? Yeah,
You're
tell
lying
me. How
again.
did Tyler Robinson kill Charlie Kirk? 'Cause he's
I
on
was
trial
trying
for
to
his
debate
life.
with these
You
people.
can't do that.
Let's conclude.
I was
We're
trying
at
to
time.
debate
If we have
same people,
concluding
starting
statement
with
from
Ian
Ed.
Carroll, before I ever met a single human being at TPUSA, you liar. And on top of that, do you have any proof that I ever met with a single lawyer
He's crashing out.
at TPUSA, or that they paid me anything more than what they did for a debate court?
It's okay, Andrew. Breathe. Deep breaths. And out. Settle down. Settle down. It's gonna be okay.
Like I've consistently said from day one.
No, still crashing out. Okay. I tried. Party time. Wait, philosophy, welcome back. The two of them discussing matters that have nothing to do with them. Smells like used TP. What does used TP smell like? I don't know if I want to know.
One. Any evidence, Stu, or did you lie about that too?
There's a whole lot of evidence of you switching your position on Erica Kirk and on Turning Point.
Haven't
USA.
switched my
You hated
position on
Turning
shit.
Point. You hated
Haven't
Turning
switched
Point.
a single
you said that she
position.
was fucking retarded, and then you took money, and now you're out here shilling for them. So I mean,
Bro,
that just didn't happen all of a sudden. That
I
now
said
all of a sudden
all-
the evidence
bro,
is
do you know
overwhelming
why I
that Tyler
said-
Robinson killed Charlie
Do you
Kirk.
know why I always say
That's
that
what
shit?
we came here to
Yeah,
debate,
yeah.
and you
And
haven't
I've been
made
trying
one
to debate
valid
it with
point
you.
at all. You've
You
given
have
me
no
dead
evidence.
slop.
No
You have
evidence.
given me the Cash Patel narrative that Tyler Robinson in the middle of the day climb the side of a building like Spider-Man. And
You've
with
given
his
us nothing.
Use his grandfather's stolen 30-06
You've given
shoot
us
Charlie's
nothing,
Superman
Stu.
neck bones of steel.
You've given us
That's
nothing.
all you've given me.
Martin Luther
offered
King
no
had
evidence at all.
had an iron jaw. He had
Martin
an iron
Luther
jaw.
wasn't
It was
sitting
Bob
next to Charlie
Steele.
Kirk, and Tyler Robinson's not on trial for shooting Martin Luther.
Neither's Erica.
He's on trial for
Okay, so
Erica
shooting
Kirk,
Charlie Kirk, and
Erica
there's no
Kirk
evidence
and
to
Andrew
suggest that any of
Colvett.
that is true.
Erica
Well,
Kirk and
is
Andrew
making the
Colvett
claim
are not on
definitively.
is this like Andrew Wilson's version of bird hands? It's like, you know how like women do bird hands like this, but Wilson does like bird hands. This is like you know how birds have like they like put their wings out and stuff, or like roosters have the big tail. Maybe we can do that. Like it's like a rooster that's like pecking with a big like tail in the back, which is like, or like a bird that's pecking with like the wings out. His version of bird hands. He just keeps doing this. Like, I don't know.
Trial,
I
bro.
forgive him.
All right,
funny.
let's wrap this
Now,
up.
are they on trial, Stu?
You
Let's
brought
wrap this up, guys.
Are
If
they on trial, Stu?
let's wrap this
Do you
up.
think any of them will debate? No. Instead, they
Just mute them, dude. Just mute them.
just block you and post 20-year-old booking photos, and that's not how innocent people behave. I don't believe.
Right.
that.
Okay. Let's
That's
conclude
how
this.
bad faith architects who won't
Let's
actually
conclude
stand by
this.
their positions behave. They won't answer questions like
That's
you,
exactly what they're
filibuster
doing.
like you, refuse to stand by a single position. That's Stu Peters.
I go over evidence every single night on my show, and I know that you
Right,
don't
but you
want me
refuse
know
to
that.
say it publicly for some reason
I
when I'm
say
here.
everything on the record every night. Came here to
Perfect.
debate you because
But
you
then,
said
hit
that
under
you
your
had
desk from
evidence
your
that nobody
positions
had
when
seen.
I was here.
All right. So
You have no evidence
All
to
right.
suggest that Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk outside of the Fed slop narrative that nobody here believes.
Okay, I mean they're just repeating themselves. Yeah, they're just like yelling over each other. Well, we finished it basically. I mean he's like,
Bro,
Stu
you have
Peters
no
is on. Hold on.
evidence
Let's
to
wrap this
your
up, guys.
point.
Hold on.
I gave
That's
you
it.
evidence.
that's it. All right, we're done. They're just like yelling over each other. It's just stupid. All right. It is getting late. I did want to go over something else, but we'll do it another time. There's another, I guess, kind of debate I wanted to go over, but it's it was Alex Jones's kid. It was him, like Rex Jones. It was him against Wilson, and there's a lot to discuss on that one. So we'll save it for next time, especially since it's already getting pretty late. And I forgot I was supposed to be doing the stream goal thing, so I just start watching things and I get into watching things and I forget about all them goals. But oh well. All right, we'll call it a night. Wrap it up. In English, TP is a slang term for toiletries. Really? I didn't know that. So used toiletries, like toiletries, like toiletries sounds like shampoo and stuff. I'm confused. I think I'm more confused now than I was before. But thank you for trying to explain. How did Sneeko end up hosting this? I don't know. He doesn't seem like he's the right person for the job, honestly. He has a big platform, but as far as like moderating skills, it's not for him. All right. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. Let's see if, yeah, it is pretty late. We're at 2 hours now, so we're 1 hour extra for free. All right. I'll see you guys next time. I'll try to remember to do the "Oh, I love those emojis" one. See if I can get that one as well and organize my memes and stuff. What was the topic of the Rex Wilson debate? It was about like Iran and war and stuff like that. And Wilson, I think Wilson lost. Like it was a clear loss. I don't know if it was really even meant to be a debate. It seemed like more like a impromptu conversation maybe or something. I don't know exactly what the context was. I'll try to look into maybe like how it started before next stream if I remember. But the content of it, like it wasn't very long either. It was relatively short as far as debates go. So I think it must have been just like a, hey, come on my show and let's debate like on the show kind of thing, not like a scheduled like moderated debate. It wasn't moderated. It was them just like talking and disagreeing. And Wilson made so many super cringe points and used like lots of patterns that I'm noticing from all the other stuff. Like it's just so predictable. And it was a bunch of things that I thought would be fun to point out. So like the paper. Okay, so toiletries as in toilet paper. Okay, because toiletries in American English usually means like toiletries, like product to use in the bathroom to like shower or, whatever. It's not late, Shirley. There's another 3 hours left on you. There usually is, but not everybody's contributing financially, so it makes it not as exciting. Well, we gotta save my energy for the future. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for hanging out. I would love to get sleep. That would be great too. But maybe we'll do a longer one on the weekend. Toiletries. Okay. Let's call it a night. Good night, everybody. Thank you.